Hey everybody, Darren here from the Single Dad Zone. So we've been working on our mindset and we've been going through each of the 11 laws that'll change your life from Tony Horton's book called The Big Picture. But I really enjoyed this book so much and the 11 laws that I thought it'd be worth everyone's time to actually go through each law one at a time. And we've done that over the past, I guess, about 3 weeks, covering each one of the laws. You know, we talked about Law 1, do your best, forget the rest. We talked about finding your purpose, laying out a plan, consistency, intensity, variety, getting real. I mean, we went through all the different laws. So today, unfortunately, we're at law number 11, and this is it. We're just about done here. And maybe I'll do another book next week. Actually, I'm going to talk a lot about Spartan racing next week. I got a big race this weekend out in West Virginia, and I thought next week I'll cover essential equipment, talk about training, talk about really why I enjoy doing the obstacle course racing so much. But today we're focusing on law number 11, which is recharge, recover, and relax. So this is one I need to really work on. And I've been doing much better at it. I'm a go, go, go type of person. Type A. I always like to be on the run. I don't take a lot of downtime. I probably don't get enough sleep. So this one actually is directed right at me. So the first thing he talks about is the recharge. So the recharge is actually sleep. And sleep is really vital to your body. It gives you your internal systems times to reboot. It helps with the reduction of stress, and when you are sleep deprived, there are so many things that your body reacts badly with. So some of the things that he discussed were these various studies. One is that you can't process carbohydrates as well. There's actually a hormone that's produced that helps you process carbohydrates, and if you are sleep deprived all the time, it can actually result in type 2 diabetes. The other thing is that sleep deprivation, we all know, you can't think right. When you're trying to learn, when you're trying to work, sleep deprivation just messes that all up. It also can be a significant danger. Falling asleep at the wheel, very dangerous. Falling asleep at work, depends on your type of work, but that can be dangerous too. You can lose your job if you can't stay awake. So some of the things he talks about to make sure that you get enough sleep is, first thing is to set a bedtime, and that's it. Don't deviate from the bedtime. That's actually one thing that I have done and I incorporate is, 10 p.m. Once it hits 10 p.m. during the week, I try to be in bed and asleep because I get up at 5 a.m. So you should get between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I'm down towards the minimum, but 7 to 9 hours of sleep. The other thing he talks about is kind of creating a sanctuary, your bedroom. It shouldn't have a lot of disruptions in there. I know I'm bad at it. I got my iPhone sitting there, my iPad, I got a TV in my bedroom. He talks about making it into like a sleep sanctuary, a place where it's easy to sleep, very dark curtains, anything that's conducive to sleeping. You want to make sure that that bedroom is ideal for you to get the 7 to 9 hours of rest that's recommended. The other thing, caffeine. A big coffee person. I love coffee. He says, the caffeine stays in your system for 6 hours. So you should try not to have any coffee after it hits noon because the caffeine will stay in your system and it'll make it difficult to fall asleep. He also talks about some natural sleep remedies you might want to try, like melatonin. So sleep, you got to let your system recharge so that it gets all of the rest that it needs. Another area where I've actually gotten much better at is recovery. Every time you exercise, you're actually causing micro trauma to your muscle fibers. That's how you build muscle. You're actually breaking down and rebuilding. You got to let your body rest. You can't just work out 7 days a week and go, 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 because eventually it's going to end up in severe trauma and injury. And if, unfortunately, you end up with one of these severe injuries, which, a few years ago I tore my rotator cuff and my bicep muscle. It was a very significant injury, I had to have surgery. You gotta let yourself recover. You can't just hop right back in. After you start to feel a little better, you gotta follow whatever physical therapy, whatever occupational therapy, whatever's prescribed. You gotta follow it. You can't just jump right back in, because you're gonna just end up hurting yourself, and it's not worth it in the long run to not fully recover. Now, one thing I felt that he didn't cover that really fits well into this chapter is not only physical injury, but emotional injury. I think emotional injury could be just as devastating, if not worse. When you are faced with separation, divorce, loss of a loved one, a serious injury, physical injury, it can cause emotional trauma. And I think a lot of us, we ignore that. We just, stay strong internally, don't let it bother you. Well, things do start to bother you. They cause stress, they cause anxiety. Eventually they can cause depression. And when you experience a trauma, an emotional trauma, you need to take the time to recover. You need to just take yourself out of the game for a little while. If it's separation or divorce, take the time to heal. Take the time to let yourself emotionally recover before you start, dating, or before you start, being more active socially. Just take time for yourself. Take the time to recover. Don't just jump back in. Just like with a physical injury, you want to take the time to recover. And for physical injuries, we go to doctors, we go to specialists, we go to the orthopedic surgeon, we go to whatever kind of doctor we need for our physical recovery. We go to physical therapy, we go to chiropractors, we go to occupational therapists. Well, the same thing for emotional injury. You want to see the specialist that can help you. There's nothing wrong with that. If you need to go see a social worker, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, someone, clergyman, anyone that can help you, work through your emotional problems just like you work through your physical problems. So you want to make sure you recover both physically and emotionally. And the last part of Law 11 is to relax, and there are kind of two parts. So relax means to just take the time to enjoy yourself. Take the time to, if you want to sit for an hour and veg out or more, watch TV, go to a movie, go on a vacation, take a cruise, go to the Bahamas, Hawaii, wherever you like to go, to have a good time and just relax. It's important to your big picture to not always be on the go. It's important to actually just relax. And another part of the relaxation is learn to not try to stop immovable things or things you can't control, because emotionally there are some things that you just have no control over. So what you want to do is when you're confronted with a significant challenge, you just want to stop. Just call time out, stop, think about things, think about it logically, take the emotion out. Most problems have never been solved with stress, anxiety, fear. None of those things solve any problems. You need to look at your problem logically. So call your time out, take a step back, do some deep breathing, that always helps, and then start asking questions. Start asking questions: why, what, how. And when you go through these questions, try to find solutions. Think of all the possible solutions to your problem, and maybe all of a sudden you're going to start to feel a lot better. And when you relax, when you're confronted with a problem, it's a lot easier to solve than when you just start breaking down, crying, screaming, whatever you do when you're faced with something really challenging. So law number 11 is you gotta let yourself recharge, which is get enough sleep. You gotta let yourself recover, whether it's from a workout and your microtrauma, or if it's a serious injury. You gotta put yourself on the disabled list and just take it easy. Now, just going really quickly back to that, when you put yourself on a disabled list, it doesn't mean that you should just just completely quit, become a couch potato, say I'm done. When I tore my rotator cuff and my bicep muscle, I didn't just stop everything. After the surgery, gave it a week or so. I started working the lower body. I started doing squats, started doing lunges, kicks, anything I can do that wouldn't injure or affect my upper torso. And you can do the same thing if you've got an upper body injury. You got the lower body. Just because you're injured doesn't mean you have to take yourself completely out of the game. And then finally, you got to relax. Relax, enjoy life a little. You work hard. You deserve to take a break. And all these laws, they give you a lot to think about and a lot to work on. But you still got to remember law number 11, which is to just take time, recover, heal, sleep, do the things that your body and mind need. So that's it. 11 laws that'll change your life. I really think it's a great book. I really think it's worth checking it out. I appreciate everybody who's been watching all these videos and reading all my blog posts. I really love the comments. I've gotten some good messages from people, and it's been a lot of fun. And maybe I'll pick another book. We'll do this again because I really enjoyed this. Anyway, I will be seeing you all soon. Have an awesome weekend. I am heading to West Virginia for the Spartan race.